My name is Julio, and I attended Sacramento City College, where I completed an associate's degree in social and behavioral sciences. Transferred to the University of California, Riverside, where I did a double major in psychology and Spanish and cultural studies.
Yes, my name is Raffa Chavez. My friends call me Rafa. I started my education in UC Davis. I did a double major there, Spanish and theater, and ended up doing a master's in Spanish at Sac State.
I came to the U.S. when I was 9, and coming to the U.S. I had to learn English really quickly just so that I am able to move on to the next grade level. I feel like I lost some of my roots and connections, the grammar, the ability to speak, and being able to select Spanish as that major opened the doors to connect with myself again, with my identity, with my culture, and the opportunity just to get to learn about other people as well. When I started community college, I thought that I could work as an engineer, so that was actually my first major, engineering. Then I wanted to do business my second year, so I changed my major to business, and that didn't go so well. So then I changed my major to sociology and then psychology. That's when I was in Puente by then. So my Puente counselor, she studied psychology and Spanish at Chico State. So in being around my Puente counselor and just hearing her story, I wanted to do what she was doing.
I took my first elective class. Was sort of like take electives, and I'm going to take a Spanish literature class, Latin America. And so I had never read anything from Latin America. I had no clue what any authors were. From my experience growing up, I was campesino, so it's sort of you watch novelas, you see películas de Antonio Aguilar, Cantinflas. But then that's when I decided, let me go see what the Spanish side of things has. And that was the literature that really reading in Espanol really connected with me. So that's really what attracted me to the major in the very beginning.
My goal was actually to come back to Sacramento. I wanted to get my master's here at Sacramento State, and life just works in a mysterious way where I landed a job at UC Santa Barbara, and that's the only full-time job that I had at that moment. I decided to take that opportunity, moved to Santa Barbara, where I worked for the Office of Admissions. Once I was there, I knew that I wanted to go back to graduate school. I had an idea of what programs could be options for me to go back to that career that I wanted to. But I went back to my counselor and other mentors to talk about different options. We looked at different programs, we looked at the cost, and that kind of helped me start creating a plan, because I knew that it was going to cost a lot of money. Tuition alone was more than what I paid for rent. So Santa Barbara is a very expensive city as well. The cost of living is very expensive. I relied on my family for support, my extended family, a good friend of mine in Santa Barbara. The first goal that I had was just to work at the community college, and I thought this is just what I want to do. But then when I learned about also becoming a therapist, I was looking for a program specifically for a program that will help me become a licensed therapist. I knew at that moment that the marriage and family therapy was a route, or the LPCC, which is the licensed professional clinical counselor, and Laverne was the only campus that offered that. So that is the reason why I decided to go with University of Laverne, because it provided both pathways to work at the community college and also become a licensed therapist.
I had started working for state government here in California, and so I was working for the Office of Public School Construction. Basically, I was a grant lead. Basically, I traveled around California, going to different school districts and helping them with their grant process to build schools and renovate schools. I'm used to Northern California, but traveling through the state, I realized the magnitude of, again, nuestra gente and the need for communication. So from that point on, I said, okay, what do I do next? I applied to do a master's in Spanish, thinking that eventually I wanted to go into writing. being the educator slash communicator, you're helping people understand what you're trying, the message you're trying to get across.
For me, working as a therapist, I use Spanish frequently to connect with the clients that I have. Mostly all of them are Spanish speaking only. So being able to use my major has helped me to connect with clients, to make them feel more comfortable.
Start with the basic. Take the even though some of us might be native Spanish speakers, take a basic Spanish course. Some of us took it in high school, but take it again in college. You might have a requirement, a language requirement. Take Spanish, take your own language, learn the very basic structures of writing. Try writing. I come to Spanish as an artist, loving the art of writing, the art of literature, doing the magic of recreating myself, going from an idea that I could be an educator in Spanish, but reinventing or being self-made, I guess, into the career that I have right now as a communicator in Espanol, connecting those dots for yourself. You're exploring, and that's what you should do.
I started working as an academic counselor for the community college. That's where my professional career started, in doing predominantly just academic work inside the transfer center, helping students transfer into a 4-year. I did not know where to begin in terms of becoming a licensed therapist. After graduate school, we only have 90 days to submit our application. That's all I knew. I'm like, I have to submit my application within 90 days. I just don't know what comes next after that process. My friend told me about Immigrants Rising, which is a nonprofit organization that created a pilot program where they allow undocumented students get their hours towards their licensure. And I was selected as there's a total of 4 in this cohort. We were paired with a supervisor and we started to see clients. Immigrants Rising helped create that or open that door for me to connect with a supervisor, connect with clients, and start accumulating hours. There's so much that goes behind the scenes, and working for a private practice, sometimes it is challenging because I have to go out there and get my clients myself as well. And what keeps me going is the clients. They do at several sessions they mentioned, thank you for just being able to hear my story, and thank you for not judging. At the end of the day, they're very thankful for the opportunity to receive mental health services. It's so expensive to see a therapist. It is sometimes a privilege to have a therapist. It is very exhausting at times, but just knowing that I can make a difference and help someone else is my primary goal. And one day I do hope to open a private practice and help our community, especially our Spanish-speaking communities. So my schedule, it could be 3 days at the community college, 2 days providing mental health services, and then some hours on Saturday mornings. It does provide a lot of flexibility, and that's something that right now I enjoy because it is also now my typical 8 to 5.
So where do I work? I work for the office of Cal Volunteers for the governor's office, Governor Newsom. Things in California at that level, at the governor's office level, happen really fast. So I'm dealing with press releases. I am dealing with social media posts now because it's big. We're introducing new volunteer opportunities across the state. So there's some level of marketing to it, strategy. 39% of the population is Latino in some way, and then a good portion of that is speaking Spanish at any given moment. I am the Spanish lead, and so basically anything that we're communicating in English, it's my job also to communicate it in Espanol. Everything else that shows up, we're also translating it now. So the state right now is in the sort of beginning to mobilize, to recognize the need to communicate directly to our population, the habla hispana. And that projects that we're doing are taking also in consideration our gente before it just becomes just a translation. So it's not, I'm not just a translation, I'm a communicator and also planning strategically how to get the message out there.
I worked at different institutions that provided a lot of training, and that's the type of work that has helped me in my roles that I have now. I do work with a lot of clients that are in college, so I'm able to have some understanding of what the college system looks like and how it works. Being able to network opened the opportunity to start working as an academic counselor while being in graduate school. She reached out because she knew that I was done with my master's program. She asked if I wanted to work for Woodland Community College. I said yes, because my goal is to be here in Sacramento.
I started basically at Sac State in '94, and I got my BA in 2004. It took 10 years for me to get my double major, but I never quit my education because I was already working full-time in a career. So I built a huge background in Spanish communications, marketing, promotion. I came in with degree and real working experience that I still use to this day. I got involved with KDVS 90.3 FM, the student-run radio station. I met Oscar Gomez, who had a show called La Onda Chicana. And he was, again, I was exploring, he was passing out flyers. You know, he invited me to come and be on the air with him. So that was my beginning of being on the air. And I came to Sacramento, and I got a 15-hour gig working for a radio station called La Bonita. A couple months later, from that, our promotions director, he leaves the job and there's a vacancy, and they said, Rafael, you want to take it on? So from going from radio, connecting those dots, connecting con la comunidad, I've done the same things in government, connecting those dots. So I ended up then, after the Employment Development Department, I ended up being the lead outreach and public engagement for the Department of Water Resources. It's something that you know because it's something that's a passion. And that's the reason I said, okay, I can use my knowledge, my academic knowledge, my native tongue to leverage empowering my gente. There was not a particular un mentor in Espanol. I think the mentors in Espanol were the different authors that I read. As a writer, as a lover of literature, as an artist, I'm like, you're influenced, you're inspired through these different types of writing and different adventures you're having. Find the writers that you like, read them, and then that one writer will lead you to the other writer, to the other writer. There's so much literature out there. But the whole idea is that I'm using it every single day with passion to get the messages out there, and then in my own personal life to cherish the arte, to enjoy it, to watch una buena película de Antonio Aguilar, because that's what the ones I used to watch it with my dad, and that's what I am, and it's all there.
I did not think that I could go this far. I honestly thought that I could just work at a restaurant, because that's what I was doing at that moment. Being able to be there on campus and see other students and see the environment, I think it started to shape my ideas of going to college and pursuing higher education. I saw myself going as far as getting a master's, or even now in this journey of getting a license. So the advice that I would give community college students is to connect with their peers. I still keep those connections to this day. I mean, we're talking about 10 years now. I wanted to step out of my comfort zone and challenge myself. I know myself, and if I would have stayed here in Sacramento, I would have done the minimum or the minimal level of work. Moving away and starting from scratch challenged me to go and seek different opportunities.
Always do explore and get into the read about it, ask questions, meet people. Every experience counts. There's no experience that doesn't count, so use it, leverage it, whatever you get yourself into.
There are happy moments, there are moments that are challenging, and that's okay. For me, that was my journey, and again, having a lot of my peers throughout this journey has helped me continue to move forward.